Maya stood in front of the house she once called home. Her belly was round with the baby she carried, and her hands clutched a small suitcase. Rain poured from the dark sky, soaking her clothes, but she didn't move. She stared at the locked door in disbelief. Ethan stepped outside. He was dressed sharply in a suit, looking like a stranger. Beside him stood another woman, Vivian. Her red lips curled into a small smile, her hand resting lightly on Ethan's arm. "This is her home now," Ethan said, his voice cold and calm, as if Maya were just a problem being moved out of the way. Maya's heart broke right there on the steps. Her voice trembled. "Ethan, please. I have nowhere to go." He leaned in closer, lowering his voice so only she could hear. "You'll be fine. It's what's best for all of us." His words hit harder than the rain. She looked into his eyes, searching for the man she once loved. But he was gone. She turned and walked slowly down the street, each step heavier than the last. Her shoes slipped on the wet pavement. She wrapped her arms around her belly, trying to shield her baby from the cold. No family. No friends nearby. No one to call. Hours later, the streets had emptied. Maya sat on a cold bench at the bus station, the suitcase beside her. Her soaked hair clung to her face. She laid one hand gently on her stomach, whispering, "I'm sorry, baby." Her eyes were empty, her soul aching. The only sound was the hum of buses coming and going, and the rain tapping the roof above. Maya leaned back slowly, her body shivering, and closed her eyes, not to sleep but to escape the pain, if only for a moment. Maya and Ethan were young and deeply in love. They didn't have much, but they had each other. Ethan was still in law school, struggling to pay his fees. Maya believed in him. She worked 2 jobs just to support them. They lived in a small apartment and ate instant noodles most nights, but they dreamed big. When Ethan finally graduated, Maya was the first to cheer. They didn't have money for a big wedding, so they got married at the courthouse. Maya wore a simple dress. Ethan held her hands and promised her forever. After the wedding, Maya gave up her own career dreams so Ethan could focus on his. She had studied fashion design, but she put everything aside to build a home and a future for them. She believed that once Ethan was successful, they would both rise together. Soon, Ethan got a big job offer from Hart Industries, a powerful law firm. Maya was so proud of him. Around the same time, she found out she was pregnant. She smiled through tears as she told Ethan the news. He hugged her, but something about his smile felt off. She ignored it. She wanted to believe he was just tired from work. Then a new name started coming up, Vivian. She worked at Hart Industries too. At first, it was just stories about work dinners and events. Maya didn't think much of it. But then Ethan began coming home late. He stopped calling during lunch breaks. He no longer kissed her goodbye in the mornings. Maya tried to talk to him. "You seem different," she said gently one night. He looked at her, almost annoyed. "You just don't fit in anymore. My world is changing." His words cut deep. Maya looked around their home. She had built this life with him, given up everything for him, and now he made her feel small in it. Vivian started coming around more. Once, Maya opened the door and saw her standing there with Ethan, holding a bottle of wine. Vivian smiled too brightly. Ethan didn't introduce Maya as his wife, just said, "This is Maya." Maya's mother had warned her long ago. She had said, "Don't trust a man who rises too fast. He might forget who helped him climb." Maya didn't listen back then. Now she couldn't bear to admit her mother had been right. Ethan started asking her to sign some papers. "It's just a separation. It's better for both of us," he said calmly, as if he wasn't tearing her life apart. Maya refused. She was pregnant. She still believed there was hope. She thought he'd come back to her once the baby arrived. But a few days later, she came home from a doctor's appointment and found the locks changed. Her things were packed in a small suitcase near the door. Vivian stood next to Ethan, holding the house keys. Maya begged, "Where will I go? I'm carrying your child." Ethan didn't meet her eyes. "You'll figure it out." And just like that, the home they built together was no longer hers. On the night Maya is thrown out, the rain didn't stop. Her clothes were wet, her body was tired, and her heart felt broken. She found a women's shelter that took her in for the night. The room was small, with a thin mattress and soft voices from other women nearby. That same night, Maya felt a sharp pain in her stomach. At first, she thought it was just stress. But the pain grew stronger, and soon she was holding her belly, crying out for help. One of the shelter workers called an ambulance. Maya was rushed to the hospital. She was all alone. She gave birth to a baby girl. She named her Ava. As she held her tiny daughter in her arms, tears fell down her face, not just from the pain, but from the sadness. No one came. Not Ethan. Not even a message. She waited in the hospital for days, hoping Ethan would call. He never did. After she was released, Maya decided to fight for her rights. She tried to sue Ethan for child support, and for her share of the house they once lived in. She believed the law would protect her. But Ethan had powerful lawyers. They painted a different story. They told the court that Maya had left him by choice, that she was unstable, and that she didn't deserve anything. Vivian's father, a rich and connected man, secretly paid Maya's old landlord to lie. The landlord claimed Maya had been acting strange and yelling at neighbors, which was not true. Maya was shocked. She had no strong lawyer to defend her. The judge believed Ethan's side. She lost the case. She didn't get any money. No support. No rights to the home she helped build. It felt like everything had been stolen from her. After that, Maya left the city. She didn't tell anyone where she was going. She just packed up what little she had and disappeared with her baby. The years passed. Maya found a small town and started over. She got help from a charity legal clinic that gave free support to women like her. They helped her with daycare, food, and a small room to live in. Maya worked part-time jobs and slowly built a quiet, simple life for her and Ava. One day, while helping with a legal case at the clinic, she met a man named James. James was quiet, kind, and very private. At first, Maya didn't know much about him. He dressed simply and spoke gently. He liked helping others but didn't like attention. Later, she learned he was actually a billionaire, the founder of a tech company, hiding from the press after a scandal in his past. James and Maya became close. He was gentle with Ava, always bringing her books or helping her with puzzles. Ava liked him. Slowly, Maya began to trust again. She never told James the full truth about Ethan. It was too painful. She only said her past was complicated. James never pushed her. He just stayed by her side. Then one evening, as the sun set behind their little house, James held her hand and looked at her with soft eyes. "I don't care what happened before," he said. "Let's raise our son together. You, me, Ava, and this baby, no conditions." Maya's eyes filled with tears. For the first time in years, she felt safe. Maya, now confident and stable, returned to the city after 4 long years. She had come a long way from that night in the rain. Her hair was tied neatly, her clothes were simple but elegant, and her smile was calm. She had built a new life and now she was back, not for revenge but for her daughter's future. She held Ava's hand as they walked into the gates of a prestigious school. It was the kind of place Maya could only dream of before. Now, with James's quiet support and her own hard work, it was possible. People in the city began to whisper. Word spread quickly, James Carter was back. The billionaire who had disappeared from the public was seen again. This time with a woman by his side. A woman no one recognized. Some called her mysterious. Some tried to find out more. But Maya stayed quiet, focused only on Ava. One afternoon, as Maya waited outside Ava's classroom, Ethan saw them. He had come to visit the school for a meeting. The moment his eyes landed on Ava, he froze. Something in her face, her eyes, her smile, felt too familiar. He followed her with his eyes as she ran to Maya and hugged her tightly. That's when it hit him. Ava was his daughter. Panic spread across his face. His past had returned, but stronger, calmer, and not alone. Vivian, now Ethan's fiancée, was quick to notice. She asked him, "Is that her?" Ethan didn't answer, but his silence said enough. Later that week, Ethan was called into Marcus Hart's office. Marcus, the powerful man behind Hart Industries, looked serious. "I've heard rumors," Marcus said. "James Carter is back and he's backing Maya. If that's true, you're in trouble. She's untouchable now." Ethan tried to stay calm, but inside, fear grew. Vivian was furious. "You have to do something," she snapped. "File for full custody. You're the father. She kept your child from you." Ethan, feeling pressure from both Vivian and his own pride, followed her advice. He filed papers asking for full custody of Ava. A few days later, Maya got the court summons. The envelope in her hand made her hands shake. All the old pain came back. The courtroom. The lies. The loss. But this time she was ready. She had a strong legal team. Thanks to the charity clinic and James's quiet help, she wouldn't run this time. James offered to go public. "I can ruin him," he said simply. "I know what he did to you. The world will take your side." But Maya shook her head. "I don't want revenge. I want peace. I want dignity." The custody case began with mediation. It was the first time Maya and Ethan sat in the same room in years. Ethan looked tired. Maya sat calmly, her lawyer beside her. Ethan looked at her and whispered, "I didn't know she was mine." Maya looked at him without anger. "You never asked." During the session, Ethan broke down. He cried for the first time. "Please let me see her. I was wrong." Maya stayed silent for a long time. Then she spoke softly. "Ava is not a toy. She's not a prize. She's my whole world." Outside the courtroom, things got worse. One day, Maya and Vivian crossed paths in a hallway. Vivian walked up to her, eyes burning with rage. "You think you've won?" she hissed. "You're just using James like you used Ethan." Maya calmly replied, "I don't need to use anyone. I built this life without you." Vivian snapped. She slapped Maya across the face. What Vivian didn't know was that the school's hallway had security cameras. The footage was leaked a few days later. The video showed Maya standing quietly, not fighting back, while Vivian struck her in anger. The clip spread online like fire. People took Maya's side. News headlines read, "Billionaire's partner assaulted by fiancé of top lawyer." Public opinion turned fast. Ethan's reputation at work started to suffer. Vivian's name trended online, for all the wrong reasons. Her father had to step in, pulling her from company projects to avoid more damage. Meanwhile, Maya stayed quiet. She continued to take Ava to school, smiling gently at the teachers, never speaking to reporters. In the middle of chaos, she stood tall. She had no need to shout, no need to fight dirty. She had already won something bigger. Her strength, her peace, and her power to protect her child. Courtroom drama filled the air. Everyone was watching closely. Ethan sat beside his expensive lawyer, looking calm on the outside but nervous deep down. Ethan's lawyer stood up and spoke loudly, trying to make Maya look bad. "She is unstable," the lawyer said. "She ran away with the child. She's only interested in James Carter's money. This is all about greed." Maya sat quietly, her hands folded in her lap. She didn't speak. She didn't need to. Her lawyer stood up next. "We have proof," Maya's lawyer said calmly. "Here are the dates. Maya was thrown out of her home while she was pregnant. Here is the eviction notice. Here are the hospital records from the night she gave birth, alone." The lawyer walked to the front and placed the documents on the judge's table. "And this," the lawyer added, "is a video from a school hallway. Vivian Barnes, Ethan's current fiancée, slapped Maya without warning. She lost control in public. And yet they say Maya is the unstable one." The video played in the courtroom. Gasps were heard as people saw Vivian raise her hand and strike Maya, who stood still and calm. Maya didn't look at Ethan or Vivian. She looked down at her hands, holding back her emotions. Then James stood up. Everyone turned to look at him. "I have something to say," he said. The judge nodded, allowing him to speak. "My name is James Carter. I'm Maya's partner. But long before that, I knew Ethan. We were roommates in college." Ethan looked shocked. "I saw how Maya worked 2 jobs to pay for Ethan's classes. She gave up everything for him. She cooked, she cleaned. She encouraged him when he wanted to quit law school. She even sold her laptop so he could afford books." James paused, then looked straight at Ethan. "And when he made it, when he finally got that job, he threw her away, like she was nothing." Whispers filled the courtroom. Ethan lowered his head. He couldn't hide anymore. James turned to the judge. "She didn't take from him. She built him. And then he left her pregnant, alone, with no money and no support." Silence. Ethan's hands trembled. He covered his face. Tears slipped down. For the first time, the court saw the truth. Maya wasn't after money. She wasn't unstable. She was a woman who had been deeply wronged, and had survived with strength and grace. Vivian looked down, her face pale. Her father, sitting behind her, stood up and walked out quietly. He knew the damage had been done. A few days later, He would remove Vivian from the company quietly to avoid more trouble. Back in the courtroom, the judge made the final decision. Maya will have full custody of Ava. Ethan may have supervised visits only, until further notice. Maya didn't cry. She simply nodded, her hands still calm. Outside the courtroom, reporters shouted questions. Cameras flashed, but Maya didn't stop. She held Ava's hand tightly and walked to the car where James waited. It was over. Not with revenge, not with hate, but with truth. Maya smiled as James gently held her hand. He looked at her with warmth and asked, "Will you marry me?" She paused, her heart full of love and peace. Then she shook her head softly. "Not yet," she said kindly. "Let's raise our kids in peace first. I want calm. I want time to enjoy what we've built." James nodded with a gentle smile. He didn't mind waiting. He knew Maya wasn't saying no, she was saying not now. With the court case behind her, Maya felt free. She took a deep breath and stepped into the next chapter of her life. She reopened her law career, something she had once given up for Ethan. Now it was hers again on her terms. She joined a small legal team that helped women who had been left behind like her. Women who had no support, no money, and no voice. Maya became their voice. She fought for them in court. She listened to their pain. She used her story to show them that healing was possible. One afternoon, Maya drove to a small house on the edge of the city. It was her mother's home. She hadn't been there in years. Her hands were shaking as she knocked on the door. Her mother opened it and stood still for a moment, eyes wide. Then she pulled Maya into a hug. Over a warm cup of tea they cried and talked for hours. Maya told her everything about Ethan, about Ava, about the pain and the strength it took to survive. Her mother listened, holding her daughter's hands. "I was scared for you," she whispered. "But look at you now." Maya smiled through tears. "I had to break to rebuild." Time passed. Ethan visited Ava now and then. He came quietly, always on time, always respectful. He was different, softer, humbler, but still distant. He never spoke about the past. He brought Ava small gifts and listened to her stories. Maya watched from a distance, calm and strong. Vivian, once always in the spotlight, disappeared from the public eye. No one talked about her anymore. The world moved on without her. And Maya? Maya bought a new house. Not rented. Not borrowed. Not shared. This one had her name on the deed. She walked through the empty rooms with Ava and her baby son, smiling as they ran ahead. The house was filled with sunlight. It was warm, safe, and full of new beginnings. She didn't need a fairy tale. She had something better. Peace, purpose, and a life she built with her own hands. Maya watches Ava and her little son laugh and run around the backyard. The sun is shining, and the sound of their joy fills the air. Flowers bloom along the fence. A swing moves gently in the wind. It's a peaceful, happy moment, one she used to only dream about. She sits on a wooden bench, holding a letter in her hands. Her heart beats faster as she opens it. She reads the first line and smiles. Ava's school admission is confirmed. She closes her eyes for a second, feeling thankful. After everything they've been through, her daughter now has a chance to learn and grow in a place where she will be seen, respected, and safe. Just then James walks out with 2 cups of coffee. He sits beside her and hands her one. "Good news?" he asks with a soft smile. Maya nods, her eyes still on the children. Ava got in. James looks at her proudly. "You did it, Maya. You built it all back." Maya turns to him slowly, her voice quiet but strong. "No," she says gently. "I didn't build it back. I built something better." They sit there together side by side, watching the children play. The past no longer holds her. The future is hers now, bright, strong, and full of love. Ibas Diaz. Sparkling Heart, thank you so much for watching till the end. You're amazing. Don't forget to like, drop a comment, and hit that subscribe button for more powerful stories. See you next time. Bye. Waving hand sparkles.